mentors are probably one of the biggest assets that you can ever obtain in your life. I think that in life you need 4 mentors. Not just one, I think you need 4, and I think 4 of them have to embody certain things. I think you need a mentor for the spirit. I think you need a mentor for the doing, the strength, the warrior. I think you need a mentor for the mind, the thinker, the knowledge, the intuition, the wisdom. And I think you need a mentor for the heart, the feeling, the connection, the idea that we have called fucking love, whatever that is. And I'm going to try to break down all 4 of these mentors that you should have, that you should try to find, and why they intertwine so harmoniously. And this is a concept that I talk about all the time that I did not create, but I will tell you the origin of it. It stems from a book I read called The King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. And for years, I've never been able to let go of that book because it's so profound. And I'm gonna continue to make videos about it in hopes that you guys understand the importance of it. Because what it does is it takes the essence of who we are and it compartmentalizes it. We are strong in strength and our ability to do. We are wise and intuitive in our ability to think. We are love in our ability to feel and express. And we are whole in our energy, in our spirit, in our ability to just feel this divine connection within everyone. This is a little bit beyond mysticism and the fucking spirituality talks that you have in modern day language where people talk about manifestation. Like, yeah, all that's real, but like this is something that we call archetypes. I want you to understand archetypes are labels. Consider it as labels. So for example, if in high school you had a dude that was very funny, he was a jokester, his archetype would be the clown because he made everyone laugh. Is he actually a clown? No. That was just an attribute. When you think of a warrior, what do you think? Strength, competence, a divine loyalty to just duty. So I speak about these 4 mentors because my problem when I was younger was I obsessed over a single compartment. My compartment was the mind. I was so obsessed with mentors that embodied the mind, embodied wisdom, intuition, and knowledge. And I gained a lot of information, but I was never able to take action. I don't know if any of you have the same pattern or have experienced the same thing, but for me, I was obsessed with hyper intelligent people. Because I was obsessed with hyper intelligent people, I had a lot of information given to me. And I didn't do shit with it. I didn't grow, or I barely grew. I had a wisdom that seemed to surprise people. They're like, what? You're 22, you're 23, you're 24, you're 25. But I wasn't necessarily disciplined. I wasn't necessarily strong. I wasn't necessarily loved. I wasn't necessarily whole. I just knew a lot of shit and did nothing with it but talk and talk and talk and talk and talk because of my extreme obsession with the mind. Mentors that embodied the mind. And then there came a point in time where I was hyper obsessed with the doing, the strength, the warrior. I enjoyed mentors that embodied that. And then obviously I became obsessed with all 4 and I found a way to integrate all 4. And I'm still working on it. But as I'm working on it, I make this video in hopes that I can maybe warn you about the consequences of not integrating all 4 compartments. So first of all, I want you to think of who we are as a single thing, right? Let's talk about a company, a Fortune 500 company that's publicly traded. Let's talk about that. They have different departments. You have HQ, you have sales, you have marketing, it's customer service, right? Different departments. Think of 4 things: your mind, your strength, your doing, your heart, your energy. Just compartmentalize them for sake of understanding. Breaking things down into segments was a great way for me to understand myself, understand the world, understand a lot of things. So I want us to start with find a mentor for your warrior or multiple mentors. These are the Tysons, the Achilles, these are the Charlemagnes, the Napoleons. These are the warriors, the samurais, the fearsome opponents. And I'm speaking to my men, my young men at least. These are the people that embody such a barbaric, rageful, maybe not rageful, but a very barbaric strength. In modern day, I think Andrew Tate is a prime example of the warrior. And he's done a great job at intertwining the thinker, the intuitive side. He's quite intuitive. But I don't know the dude, but I think he's a prime example of what we call a warrior. Tyson is a prime example. Any fighter is a prime example of a warrior. The warrior has access to an intuition that you just cannot obtain through reading. They have this intrinsic drive, dedication, and loyalty to strength, discipline. They have this. You can read all the books on how to be disciplined, but you can never be as disciplined as the person who's just disciplined. And they are just disciplined, and they've obtained a wisdom through the discipline. If you ever listen to Conor McGregor talk, he's quite wise. And I argue that the dude is wise. If you listen to any great fighter, they have this ancient wisdom about them. And I don't think it's from them reading hundreds of books. I believe it's the wisdom that is earned. Earned through doing, earned through fighting. Find the mentors to integrate your warrior, your strength, your power. For me, I was always afraid of touching this side or this department or this compartment of who I am or who I was, because I didn't want it to get out of control. If you let this aspect of you get out of control, congratulations, you now have the modern day wife beaters, kid abusers, angry madmen that lack control. They're like the infant little child. And hey, I've been a victim of that. I'm not perfect by any stretch of imagination. But that's what you have when you cannot fully integrate the warrior in its purest aspect, right? But what happens when you integrate the strength of who you are is you get this very well-disciplined, very well-grounded leader who doesn't just command his people to march into war, but he's at the front lines. You have the warrior who does, who is relentless, who is so unwaveringly powerful, so relentless because he's accessed the inner strength within himself. And he becomes a symbol of hope to a lot of people, because to the people that are weak or they have not discovered the strength that exists within, the warrior is a remembrance. That's what the warrior is. You become this symbol of remembrance. People will look at you and they will remember the strength that they also have. Why do you guys think people like David Goggins inspire so many people? Because they say, oh shoot, this dude can do it, so can I. And I think any person that dares to make an excuse as to, well, Goggins can do this, and that's what, man, he's a human just like you. Holy shit. Fuck Fuck the excuses. And well, that right there, that sentence alone, that's part of the warrior. So, okay, we've identified the warrior. We understand now that an aspect of who we are is in the strength, in the power, in the doing, in the groundedness, in the discipline, in the relentlessness, in the constant, in the perseverance, in the brute force and strength to just will our ways through. Downside of it becomes this out of control, angry, terrifying, arrogant individual. That's the downside of it. That's one. Study war, study fighters. And how you can blend that warrior is by now introducing something that we call the heart. The heart softens the warrior enough to ground him. You take the samurai out of war and you place him in the garden where he doesn't lose his instinctual deadliness, but he just doesn't have to be deadly all the time. He's now exploring the garden. You introduce the heart. These are the mentors that allow you to feel, that teach you to feel. These are the mentors that remind you that feeling is not a weakness, it's a default programming of being this. We call this human. I don't know what the fuck to call this, but we call it human. To feel, to express oneself is a natural default programming. Some people do it by writing books. Some people do it through speaking, through poetry, through singing. That's what we call it the arts. And that's the heart. That's what it is. Heart is art. To feel, to cry, to smile, to have a moment of joy, to have the ability to express oneself, to see happiness, to feel anguish. That is what we call the heart. And you'll notice across any great transformative story of any hero story, it starts with the warrior that doesn't know how to feel, has the emotions which destroys him, and then stops running from the emotions and just accepts the emotions, understanding that his warrior instinct will not change or shift despite the ever-changing emotions that come in and leave. That's a great way to balance the strength, the warrior. It's the heart. In archetypical language, we call that the lover. It's the lover. What's the downside of the lover? Well, you have this the downside of a lover that isn't fully integrated into the aspect of who you are, you have this very overly obsessed individual. A lot of these people will be hyper obsessed over individuals. Their love is obsessive, clingy if anything, needy if anything. Their love is no longer a strength, it becomes a crutch. They just become weak. Sometimes the love can soften the warrior to where his killer instincts vanquish. It's just gone. Peace out. See you later. That's the downside of the lover, is because it's so powerful that it can overcome you to where you're just this emotional, out of control person. This applies to you ladies as well. If I have any ladies that watch me, this shit applies to you as well. Because it's very real. Too much of this love, too much of the heart. You're this overly compassionate, sympathetic, crybaby. I was about to use a bad word. A crybaby individual. Just enough of the heart, and you just let the emotions and the ability to feel flow through you, and you just become one. So that's the heart. Mentors that really helped me unlock the heart were mentors like Alan Watts. I will have to say Tony Robbins really unlocked the heart for me. He is a great example of warrior and heart lover. Prime example. With the genius of the mind and the expansive of the spirit. I mean, Tony Robbins is a prime example. The heart is considered, if we want to compartmentalize it even further, feminine. It is a feeling intuition, after all. It is a feeling aspect. And I think the feminine is a prime example of feel, of emotion. I'm not saying that all women are just emotional creatures, but I say women are more emotional than male creatures. Male creatures feel emotion too. But the feminine is a complete embodiment of it in its fullness. And that's why men, if you embody too much of the heart, you can become weak because you lose your masculine edge and you just become this feminine mess, even though you're a masculine creature. Picking up what I'm putting down here? I'm speaking from experience, completely from experience, by the way. So we move on past the heart. And now this is an area where I spend a lot of time in, which is the mind, the knowledge, the intuition. In archetypical language, we call this the magician. It's the smart person. It's the freaking intelligent wisdom shamanic. That's who it is. That's what it is. These mentors, they give you profound insights to existence, to life, to unlocking parts of yourself that you never even knew existed. Or maybe you knew it was there, but you didn't know how to access it. These are the highly intuitive individuals that allow the world to think for themselves. They don't teach people what to think. They teach people how to think. These are the individuals that you're like, oh shit, you said something profound. And I spent a lot of time in this field. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson is one, Carl Jung is another, Freud is another. Toth is another. These are the geniuses, the mad scientists, the ones cursed with knowledge. And that right there, my friends, Nietzsche is a prime example, Dostoevsky is a prime example, and that right there, my friends, is the downside of the mind, the knowledgeable, the wise. The downside is they are cursed with such an abundance of knowledge that it literally becomes this thing that chains them down. All they can do is think. All they can do is philosophize everything. All they can do is ponder. All they can do is analyze. All they can do is overcomplicate, which is a beauty. But they get so trapped in this that there is no motion. There is no feeling. The thing that's supposed to empower them becomes the thing that destroys them, which is why it's good to integrate it in fragments. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson is such a wise individual. He gets it. Like, he gets it. And yet you'll notice that he's had experiences where he was addicted to drugs and he was this. I don't really know his life, but I've heard stories where he was addicted to drugs at one point. And you're like, well, how can someone so intelligent fall victim to that? Well, it's because too much intelligence is a crutch. Like, it chains you down. To take the moment you become hyper intelligent, I want you to just imagine 5 million pounds just dropped on you. So now just to walk is extremely, like, you got to will your way out to walk because you got 5 million pounds on your shoulders. Which is why you'll notice that some of the knuckleheads out here, they do the most. They can do so much because they're not thinking. They're just doing. Ergo, the warrior. The knuckleheads can do relentlessly. They just go. They're like, give me it. I do. They don't need to overanalyze. They just fucking do it. They don't gotta figure shit out. They go, 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 go. And then you'll notice that the ones that seem to be smart, like they can't do shit with it. It's like, dude, come on, you pathetic fool. And hey, I'm speaking to my old self because I've been all of them. The beauty with integrating the mind is now you have access to ancient wisdom. You get to look, analyze life, create profound meaning, because you get to create it because you have an analytical brain, an analytical thought process. And what you get to do is you get to look at the world and you get to analyze it for all of its depth, for all of its beauty. You'll notice these are the hyper conscientious people. They're extremely self-aware. They're profound. They can talk about the depths of existence in a way in which you can't even describe. Their words are poetic. And you're like, damn, because they reflect a part of yourself that also know the same thing, but you just didn't know how to communicate it. They're great communicators. They are so intelligent. Oh my God. So smart. Like they can teach and they can say things that will literally cause you to rethink your entire existence. These are the ancient elders of the villages, the wise elders that know. They're not the tribe leaders, they're the elders. The elders that are respected by everyone because of their wisdom. What are the downsides of it? Well, I've said all of it already. Some of the downsides are when you integrate the mind, or when you don't know how to fully integrate the mind, you're cursed with knowledge. And the idea of being cursed with knowledge is you are cursed with an analytical mind that prohibits you from doing anything else besides thinking. Then you go insane. And then you become nihilistic and you think the world is just an ugly place. And you start to dance with the chaos that's already within you. So that's the downside of not being able to integrate the mind fully. You adopt something that we call the Luciferian intellect, where you think you know everything and you think you're a know-it-all. That's what pride is, right? I mean, there's an idea in the book called the Bible that this omniscient being that we call God created an entity called Lucifer. Now, Lucifer was a great entity, beauty. Satan was created because of pride. Lucifer did not inherently have pride. It was made in beauty. But pride, once entered this entity known as Lucifer, became Satan, right? So, I mean, that's what happens. You can adopt the Luciferian intellect of I am better. And then that leads to the downfall, which is now, I mean, that's the downfall, right? That's where he gets cast out. He becomes Satan. Because now he does not want to relinquish the pride. He still believes that he is almighty. So much so that he is ready to combat the Almighty because of his inability to accept defeat or accept his inferiority. These are the people that are so relentless, they refuse humility. Like they are so prideful, and they'll be damned if you talk shit on them. They'll be damned if you do. They are going to prove you wrong, and they will humiliate you. They will make you question your existence, and they will prove you wrong just so that they can have the last laugh. Luciferian intellect. Those are some downsides. Now, the last mentor I want to talk about is the spirit. These mentors connect you straight to the root of who you are. And no, fuck, for crying out loud, man, the essence of who we are is not necessarily love. That's so, in my opinion, that is so bottom grade polarity bullshit. Like, we're not just love. That's an aspect of who we are. Like that's one aspect of the essence of who we are, but that's not just like if you think God is only love, like fuck, man. Holy shit. You fuck, I don't know what to tell you. Like you're eventually going to figure out at some point or another, whether you call it God, Allah, I don't fucking care. It's not just love. It's more, like a lot more. The last mentor is the spirit, energy. It's a divine groundedness. It's connection within all living organisms. It's the understanding that you are not different from every human, but you are every human. It's not that you are separate from the trees and the leaves and the birds and the sky and the moon and the sun, but you are all of it. You are the external world is a direct symbolic representation of the essence of who you are. That's a great way to understand it. Everything around us, all the animals, the tragedies, everything, sun and moon, night and day, the stars, the cosmos, the ever-expanding galaxy, the trees that keep growing, the plants that flourish, the plants that die, every animal, the process of creation, giving birth, fucking everything, every human is a direct representation, symbolically trying to show you that all of that is you. And you are so complex that there is no other way to show you who you are besides to create a world like this. Isn't that a beauty? Holy shit, that's how complex we are? That there has to be a sun and a moon, night and day, trees, grass, dirt, different varieties of animals, different types of humans that embody different things. Holy shit, that's how complex we are? That all of this has to exist just so that we can try to remember who the fuck we are? Yeah. Some people will look at the sun and they'll remember, oh fuck, I am the sun, I am light. Some people will look at the moon and they're like, oh fuck, I am the moon, I am balance. I am the unwavering pool of energy, of emotion. Some people will look at the sky, the blue sky, and be like, I am tranquil. Some people will look at the night sky and say, I am complete chaos. I am the unknown, I am the mystery. Some people will look at other humans and see anger and say, I am also anger. Some people will look at happiness in a human and say, I am also very happy. Fuck, yeah, that's who you are. Now, these mentors are unlocked. The spirit is unlocked once you find the first three mentors. Once you find the warrior, the thinker, the feeler, the heart. Once you find mentors to unlock these three aspects of who you are, only then can you unlock the fourth compartment. And the fourth compartment you cannot unlock through outside. No one can teach this to you. You unlock it yourself. This last door, this last compartment is a compartment that you unlock your damn self. Once you see the strength within you, the relentlessness, the ability to do, once you see the ancient wisdom that you possess within the crevices, the depths of your mind and your heart, once you see that you are a symbol of expression, to experience, to feel, and once you can unite this trinity, you've now completed it. You will find this last compartment called the spirit, the energy, and it will all make sense. And you will see that it is not a binary, it is a continuum. This spirit is not good or bad. It doesn't have that language. It does not comprehend those terms. Those terms are so first grade elementary to such a divine source. There is no fucking love. It is not singular. It is ever expansive. And I'm speaking in this fucking triple point, quadruple Harvard, fifth grade, whatever vocabulary, and I'm using these words because there is no way for me to describe such a thing that can possibly make sense. Humans can never. We can never make sense of such a thing. But we can try. I mean, that's why we have books like the Bible trying to tell us what it is symbolically. I think all these ancient texts, I don't care. I really don't care what you read. If you read the grimoires, if you read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, if you read the Gospels, if you read the Bible, if you read the Torah, the New Old Testament, I don't really give a damn what you read. If you read the Quran, I don't know what you read. The Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu scriptures, the Emerald Tablets, the Book of Enoch, the Codex. I don't care what it is. They are all breadcrumbs to lead you to that last compartment. They are all there. Breadcrumbs, not the entire loaf of bread. I'm warning you that none of those things are the entire loaf of bread. They are breadcrumbs, leading you to discover the entire loaf of bread that is right here. Right here. And if you don't believe me, read the books and notice the central theme where it speaks about the power within us. That source is not only separate from us, but it is quite literally us. So expansive that it creates separation. We are so expansive that we separated from source itself to have consciousness, to experience, to be aware of ourselves. Fuck, that's a brain twister. That fucking hurt my head. What about you? Because in the beginning there was consciousness. And consciousness became aware of itself. It was just, it just was. And upon being aware of itself, it began to expand and created separation so that it can feel, because if it's singular, it can't feel because it is. It can't experience all this. It is all of this. So shit, separation, so that this entity, aka whatever the fuck we are, we call it humans, what this can feel and experience this. But they are not separate. They are still united, but separation had to occur so that this unit, us, can have the joy, the luxury to experience. To experience what? A world that was already here. That's a brain twister. That's a brain teaser. I don't think any of this is the truth. I think it's an opinion. Do what you want with it. If it helps you, cool. If it doesn't help you, get rid of it. But those are the 4 mentors that you need. And the last mentor, the last compartment, you will unlock that once you get the 3 down. Once you create that trinity, the last one will open. And you realize where you are, who you are. Because I think that the end goal of all of this is to remember who we are. There's a reason why we don't remember. If we remembered, it'd be really hard to experience. But you get aspects of it throughout your whole life. We call it maturity. We call it emotional intelligence. Throughout your life, you will get little aspects where source, that thing, consciousness, that is you, but decided to separate from you so that you can just experience, but it's still within you, that thing, it will poke at you. Maybe in your 20s, maybe in your teens, maybe in your 30s, maybe when you have a child, maybe when you do something hard, maybe when you overcome a challenge, maybe when you sit and meditate, maybe when you engage with androgens, whatever the fuck you decide to do, it'll poke at you to remind you, hey child, remember who you are. And I am either going to sound crazy to some of you, or some of the words I say to some of you, you'll just be like, holy shit, yes, I get it. There's a beautiful, beautiful saying that goes, and those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. God damn! That's a good one, right? It makes sense to me. And if it makes sense to you, adopt it. And if it does not make sense to you, you don't have to adopt it. Just get rid of it and continue on your path. But if what I said made sense, just a little bit, we walk the same road. See where it leads you. Congratulations, you remember. Now that you remember, your job is to take that intuition and that wisdom from source, because not a lot of people know how to access it. Not a lot of people even remember. Take that, which is you. It is within and outside. Take that and figure out what you can do here. And be a symbol of remembrance so that other people can also remember. Through you. I mean, that's what we are. We're vessels, right? Vessels to be used for the greater good of the collective, are we not? Is that not what the Bible is? I mean, any Christian here, correct me if I'm wrong, is not the idea to spread the word, to remind people? I don't know, man. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know that I don't know anything. And I think that's better than thinking that I know everything. There's my philosophical spill on the 4 mentors you need. So here's the practical part. You need to be able to take action. Develop the strength to take action and be disciplined. That will make you more intuitive than just fucking trying to be intuitive and smart. Doing will make you smarter than trying to be smart. Doing and taking action will make you more intelligent than trying to be intelligent by reading books. You need to do, you need to ground yourself, you need to be disciplined. You need to have an unwavering loyalty and devotion to your mission and your purpose. To defend your belief and to not be shaken by anything. You need to be fucking smart to be able to think for yourself. To not be a slave and a victim to what society teaches you and what the schools teach you and what your mommy and daddy tell you and what your brother and sister tell you and what they try to impose on. Fucking think for yourself. Enter the mind, the crevices of the mind. Gather the ancient wisdom that's within. Next, you gotta be able to feel. We are beings that express ourselves and can feel because we're here to experience the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, whatever the fuck type of emotions. You gotta be able to feel. And lastly, once you do those 3, you're gonna remember who you are. Hope it helps.